Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cross Circle, the official podcast for PlayStation Source. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined by Mr. Kevin Diaz.
Yeah. What's going on?
Welcome to episode 12. Bit of a break between episodes. Going back to college, getting in the swing of things again.
All the good stuff. Yeah, you just moved in your dorm. It's all good. Beautiful. Glad you had a nice move-in. I just stayed at my apartment complex this year, so didn't have to move. Thank God. But
I hate moving so much.
Oh, moving is the worst.
Yeah.
The absolute worst. Absolute worst.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
So before I moved, actually, I sold my PS4 Slim because one, it was going to be one less box to carry, and two, I wanted to get the Spider-Man Pro, which we've talked about on this podcast before.
Indeed.
So that was nice because it was one less thing to carry, and I actually didn't end up unpacking my Switch until like 5 or 6 days after I actually moved in.
That is kind of wild because, I mean, you know, with the moving process, obviously, you know, a lot of your stuff is not where you want it to be. For example, our, you know, consoles, PlayStation, you know, all that good stuff. So I feel like, you know, in between organizing your apartment or whatever, I would assume you'd be on the Switch just chilling, you know, because it's right there. You can play it handheld mode.
See,
but I'm surprised you didn't touch it.
That's what I thought too. I just ended up watching a lot of Friends the first few days, but past weekend
I've never seen Friends.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do that. Just throw it on in the background.
Oof,
Watch
yikes.
the episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I beat Breath of the Wild waiting for my PS4 to show up. I got it 2 days after the release of Spider-Man, which, by the way, this entire episode is spoiler-free for the for most of it. There's gonna be no spoilers.
No major spoilers, I'll say. Yeah, I think we're gonna.
Actually, I think if you've paid attention to the marketing for the game, if you've watched the E3 showcases, we're not going to do anything that you haven't seen before outside of the first hour of the game.
Right. Yeah. Of course,
That's our goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and keep it as close as we can because I'm still not done with it. Kevin has finished it.
I did know life indeed.
So I'm going to try and keep your thoughts focused on the first few
definitely,
portions of it.
If I go off the jungle juice, you know, reel me in. But
all right.
I am well aware we're going to stick between the hour of the first game, so it should be fine. But,
so spoiler-free outside of the first hour, but not like super details, just general story motifs, whatever we want to mention.
Yeah, I guess maybe like if we are about to mention like a minor spoiler, I guess we'll say it just in case. If you guys want to be like completely blind and just want to know our impressions, our, you know, spoiler-free stuff. If we right before we go into some minor spoilers, again, they're like really minor. We'll call it out. Before we say it. Yeah. I guess that's a good idea, just to keep it 100% transparent.
Right.
But you beat Breath of the Wild before you got Spider-Man. That's good. You enjoy it?
Yeah, cool ending.
Good? Beautiful deal.
Yeah.
And then for me, at least, other than Spider-Man, I've been playing a lot of Blackout.
Nice.
The VR beta for Black Ops 4. Very, very fun.
You digging it?
Honestly, surprisingly fun. Surprisingly, you know, I was definitely in the camp that, like, this might be a disaster, this beta. Like, I was thinking, like, we're going to have very bad server issues. Because, like, you know, this is really the first time we've had COD do any massive server, massive player count type of, you know, BR. Even just Battle Royale at that. Like, any major, big game mode, you know.
Yeah,
like,
even player count, it's at 89 now, right, is what I saw.
Right now it's 89. The first day was 80. 80 was running smooth at. I actually haven't played it since it got increased to 89. Hopefully I'm gonna try and get on tonight. But I'm sure some of you guys that saw that stream on Monday, the launch day for the beta, streamed for about 4 hours. It was fun and everything. But yeah, it's really surprisingly polished, surprisingly good. Everything works as you would expect it to. Expect it to from a game that you would. It's just odd how polished it is for being a COD game and it being its first go at something like this. You know, like you would assume that there would be some issues, you know, with connection and stuff like that, and server quality. But it's good. I enjoy it.
Yeah, well, cutting out the campaign will give them a lot of time to work on that stuff.
Yikes! Yeah. But we've been both playing a definitely, I'd say a better game A more enjoyable, fun game. Absolutely, long anticipated, long hyped.
Several years in the making.
2016, I think, was first shown.
Yep, right? It was. That was the closer that year. So now, let's talk Spider-Man.
Let's do it.
So
Spider-Man.
I want to start general impressions, like how you think the game feels, how swinging feels, the city, that kind of stuff. What was your first impressions of the game, and did they meet your expectations?
Right. Okay. So I'll just talk in terms of like, let's just take it back to my first hour with the game. Right. It was streamed, so if you want to have some context, I guess you can go check it out. But the movement always to me felt fluid, swinging through a city using its physics. It seems like the way you would expect Spider-Man to react is how he's going to react in terms of swinging and everything and movement and and all that. So to me, that felt second nature. It felt very, very smooth, and that's obviously should be commended for Insomniac for doing such a good job at the traversal and swinging and how it all feels. To me, it feels fluid, feels perfect, and it only gets better with upgrades as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It gets better and better. You know what I'm saying? So the movement to me felt great, better than I expected, honestly.
Yeah, I went into this hearing initial impressions because again I started 2 days after it came out, but I was expecting a feel of a certain way for swinging, for traversal, and they nailed it. It really is great.
100%.
It's so fluid. It's so easy to chain movements together, get speed boosts.
It's fun.
It's a lot of fun because there is a fast travel system in the game. I only used it 5 times for the trophy. That was it. I've never used the fast travel for anything else.
I've used it twice.
Yeah.
As of right now. And I have beaten the game. I've put hours in this game. Because why would you do a disservice in fast travel? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, yeah. You get a cool little cutscene for fast travel, which is neat, but that's...
It is,
yeah.
It is a cool cutscene. And also
swinging just feels so good.
Yeah, also just to mention the cutscene that you said with fast travel, it also adapts to the story elements of the game as well. It's not just a stagnant, different scene that you see when you fast travel.
Right.
So like it's not like it will change to things that are happening in the world, which makes it all the more detail and all that good stuff. So definitely do appreciate that. Like you can just tell how much detail and care is in this game. Like, it's great.
I think that's a great point because, like you said, you only use the fast travel twice and it is dynamic. So many people are not going to use that, and I think that speaks even with a lot of the rest of the game. Like there's, I think 55 backpacks you can pick up around the city. Each single one has like a piece of memorabilia in it. You have a line from Spider-Man about each item.
Yep. Really
fleshes out context of the world, and so many people are just going to breeze over a lot of that.
Yeah, I got all the backpacks, and it's because what it is that like the backpacks, they don't offer like some crazy main story revelation that you've been waiting for. It's just small stuff that, especially I feel like the hardcore are definitely going to enjoy and definitely going to
I have enjoyed it. Trust me, I can.
Yeah,
can vouch for
especially
that.
you. Yeah, 100%. You know what I'm saying? And like, even though I didn't get like, I got me being a very casual Spider-Man fan. Obviously, I know majority of the lore, but obviously I don't know the grittiness, the not the grittiness. I'm saying the like specifics,
right?
If you will, you know what I'm saying. But there's a lot of stuff in there that even the casual fan will definitely enjoy hearing stuff like that. So
yeah, and
the backpacks are really cool.
Not even with collectibles too. Just like I took my time going through those early environments, like the apartment and your office and stuff like that. Feast, interacting with just stuff in the environment, observing things. You get lines from Peter that really like explain where some characters are in that world that don't show up.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna say any specifics, but there's characters where you're like, oh, I wonder what this version of, or like Insomniac's version of this character, I wonder where they are right now. You see a poster in Feast, Peter makes a remark about someone he knows that's like related to the poster, and that sets up where they are in that world.
It's just no, it's great.
There's
and
so
like,
much detail in this game.
So much detail. So much detail. Like there's even like it's even in places that you wouldn't even expect there to be detail in an open world game. Because like why would they pay attention to, example, the post-it notes in Peter's room?
Oh, I love those.
Actually
I read all of them. I love those.
Yeah. They actually say stuff that's like, oh snap, like like that's really and even it even spreads to the open world where I was playing it yesterday, just some side stuff and missions and just get them knocked out, whatever. I think I might plat this game. I think this really might be my first plat, but beside the point. I saw a car crash happen. So like, it didn't give me a prompt to like intervene or something like that, or save somebody. Like some of them did. It was just a random NPC car crash, and so I just stayed around for a little bit. I just wanted to just like see what happens, whatever. Maybe it'll reset or something like that, or like if it just stays there. And then paramedics started coming.
Oh wow.
EMTs and paramedics started coming, and then it all just reset after like maybe like 5 minutes. But just like having that, just it just makes it so much more lively in the city. That's just a really really cool thing. How a lot of things are happening in this game and in the open world that have nothing to do with you at all.
Yeah, this New York is really impressive. Like
really impressive. Yeah.
There's better ways for me to put it, but the city feels alive. Like there's so much traffic on the streets. There's so many people walking around.
A lot more than I thought there would be, honestly. A lot more than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of people. Yeah.
This New York City really puts Gotham City and Arkham Knight to shame.
Damn.
And I really like Arkham Knight. That's not a slight at that game, but there's nobody walking around. Like, thugs took over that entire city. There's some cars you can drive by, or that drive by you. This city is vibrant. It's alive. There's so many people going about their day.
And like one thing I want to say personally, I am from New York, but I was only there for 5 years, so I don't really know a lot about it from a first-hand account. The only way I know a lot about the city was from my dad, who was from there, obviously, and stuff like that. And so it was like I think 2-3 years ago. It was right when The Division came out.
Right.
He saw me playing it and was like, "Yo, wait, hold on." Like, and he like made me stop, and he just made me like walk around. I was like, yeah, like he recognized that building, this building, whatever, stuff like that, and like was telling me all like the different changes and everything to the city, onto like the buildings, onto the buildings that they did for the game and everything, and just lay out the things that were the same and things that were different. And then I was like, all right, every time there's a game that has New York, I'll hit you up and see if it's as accurate, as it portrays. So obviously, show them this game, and he said this one was better than The Division in terms of detail and like in terms of just how it was laid out. Like, he was really really impressed. Yeah,
all of Manhattan seems like it's spot on.
Yeah,
like,
he was really impressed. Yeah. Obviously, there's stuff like the Avengers Tower that's not obviously in New York.
Yeah, they took liberties with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. But,
It is cool to see how well they integrated the Marvel universe as a whole into the city, though. So, you have like Avengers Tower, Fisk Tower, Oscorp. They all look like they fit in. It's really cool. There's a lot of like smaller places too you can run into. Won't spoil any of them, but there's connections to like some of the Netflix characters, not like they're that version of them, but those characters. There's references to some of them, some MCU characters you're familiar with, just in the buildings, which is a great detail. And you get a line from Peter, again, if you take pictures of the landmarks, specifically the Marvel ones.
Yes.
Which, again, just fills out,
landmarks are the best.
Fills out the universe.
100%. I love that. Was other than the best. So I've done 2 of the side mission, well, not side mission, but like side activities to completion, and those were the backpacks and the landmarks, and I love both of them. They were very very fun. Landmarks especially, because landmarks, they're easy to complete on the go as well, because all you can do is just swing by, pull out your camera. Like, it's not like a crazy thing where you gotta stop by. Like, you can easily knock it out in a solid 20 minutes.
Yeah, I took half of those mid-air.
Yeah. It just makes it easy to do it as well. Yeah, how you can just do it mid swing and stuff like that, and like So definitely did enjoy, and also the same. You get the same lure tidbits, like you said as well. With the backpacks, you do the same thing with landmarks. Yeah, so it's super, super dope.
Yeah, it's a great way to fill out the universe. Speaking of, since we're talking about the dialogue, I think Yuri Lowenthal, the Peter, perfect.
Great job.
He does a great job. The entire cast is really great at their characters, if I'm being honest.
I can't find one that I didn't like. MJ took me a little bit to get used to. I don't know why. Not that I didn't like her. It was just, I don't know. I don't know. But I ended up liking her a lot at the end. You know, all good. And obviously the other barrage of characters that I don't know if I'm cool to say or not. But they were all good as well.
Right. So one last thing about the whole overall surface level of the game. Beautiful. This looks so nice.
I don't know what Puddle Gate was talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm playing on a Pro. I don't have a 4K TV, but I have super sampling on, all that stuff.
I'm playing on the Pro 4K with a 4K monitor. I can't confirm. It is beautiful.
It looks fantastic.
And then also for comparison, my roommate right now is playing it on 1080p on a base PS4, right? So I'm like, hey, let's just switch for a little bit because I just want to see how it looks on the base PS4 and stuff like that. And honestly, on the base PS4, it doesn't look that much of a downgrade, honestly, in terms of the Pro.
Right.
Like, there's some light. There's, like, I'd say probably the biggest difference is the lighting and the way the sun reacts to different things, like different buildings and yourself as well. That is a thing that you will notice for sure. But just the general standpoint of how the game looks, it doesn't look as, you know, like it's not like it's a crazy, you know, like you can't play it.
I can also comment on this because I found out that the default for the PlayStation 4 Pro improvements is off. So I spent about 6 to 7 hours with Spider-Man thinking, oh, this looks great because I'm playing on a Pro. No enhancements were turned on.
Good old placebo.
So once I turned it on, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it looks great. So
definitely gonna want to make sure you when you get your Pro, definitely gonna want to change that setting. I don't know why it's off. That is really weird.
Right?
That is a really weird quirk. Yeah, I noticed it within the first few hours of me having a Pro, because I was talking to my friend that has a Pro, and he's like, "Hey, like, did you turn it on?" I'm like, "What do you mean turn it on? Like, what?" He's like, "Did you turn on the actual enhancements on the Pro?" And I'm like, I thought they were already on. Like, why would they be off? Like, why would they, you know? And so I changed it quickly, obviously. But yeah, that is a weird quirk about the Pro.
Yeah, I'm glad I caught it within the first day and not like 6 months from now.
Yeah, that'd be really
my friend also got the same. He got the Spider-Man Pro, and I texted. I have a group chat with some of my friends that we were playing through the game, and I was like, "So yeah, I just found this out," and he was like, "Wait, what?" So like nobody knows.
Yeah, and like I know it mainly only affects people that when you have a Pro and you haven't gotten a 4K monitor or display. Like if the PS4 detects that you are outputting the signal on 1080p, that's when you have to go and change it.
Right.
To
Yeah.
Super sample mode. Yeah. But if you but if the PS4 already sees that you're on a 4K TV,
then it's automatic.
Then it'll just flip it on.
Yeah.
It's automatic. It's only when you're on a 1080p.
Right.
But yeah, the game looks great. Oh, before we get into, I guess, like the nitty gritty of different stuff, the story and everything, do we want to talk about combat?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to bring up next.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, so
that's all good.
Game is great. Game looks great. Let's get the combat.
So combat, I really enjoy. I like how my biggest. Okay, this is again going into like the lore of things.
Right.
This is going to be the last time I bring up Batman, I promise. So Arkham is interesting because you have like the free flow combat, you know? But it's weird seeing Batman move that fast and like leaping across the room, like all different corners of it to just beat people up within like seconds. It makes sense for Spider-Man, and it feels so good doing it for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And honestly, outside of the surface level of flash above your head when an enemy's about to attack you, it's pretty different from Arkham combat, to me at least.
Okay, right. Because me, I have yet to play the Arkham games. I know I'm a horrible person.
Right.
I want to play him. I'm gonna play him eventually. Especially after this game as well. You know what I'm saying? And like having a lot of people that I know as well talking to them, and like they've been saying that this combat is pretty similar to Arkham. It's different, but it's within the same bounds of it being the same. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's comfortable to say that these two games have similar combat systems.
I will say it's deeper than the Arkham combat, because the Arkham combat really is just a lot of like square, 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 parry, square, 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 circle, square, square, square.
So it's more button mashy type of that instead of like more. So would you say in comparison, like this is this combat is more methodical?
It's more technical, yeah.
Okay, okay, gotcha. Okay, deal.
So my favorite thing about the combat, and because it's Spider-Man, is getting people in the air.
Right.
That feels so nice. Like launching people up.
It does feel nice.
My favorite move to really burn through a group of people is launch a dude up in the air, web him until he's like the R1 web, like just the balls, until he's tied up, and then holds triangle so that way you slam him down to the ground and then you just get stuck on the ground with the web.
I like to do the when I'm up in the air, I think it's square X and then aim down.
Do that that's the ground pound, right? Yeah.
Yeah, is it that or is it triangle?
It's X. I'm pretty sure.
Here, hold on. Let me do it. Do it right there. Yeah. It's square X. Yeah, so that's really fun. In terms of combat, okay, so I'm going to compare. Okay, this is probably the most unfair comparison I can make ever, but it's so I'm gonna just do it. Okay, it's not at all apples to apples at all. Really, not even apples to oranges. Not even really that. But another game that I absolutely adored the combat in this year was God of War. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, these games, I want to make it fair to compare them both. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna just do it, right? I know it's not the greatest comparison, but with God of War, right? So I think this all falls in line with, I guess, the enemies that you face in Spider-Man versus the enemies that you face in God of War, right? So there are some enemies in God of War, right, where some moves and some weapons literally don't work.
Right.
Like, you actually can't do any damage to them. Like, they actually won't work, right? And at least with this game, you won't really find that. You'll find weapons and tactics and different things that you can do and different abilities that are more better for different enemies and more specific for them, and that you'll probably take them down easier using this and that, whatever. But the fact that you can use pretty much any way that you want to take out enemies and it pretty much works,
Yeah.
I think that kind of made me feel like I wasn't using a lot of different abilities that I was unlocking.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I see what you're saying there, because I definitely have things set in my head.
Oh, for sure.
Of how to deal with situations in the game, where, like you said, it's very different cases. Because even from a character standpoint, Kratos is big, hulky guy with an axe and a shield. Very slow paced. Where Spider-Man is you're jumping all over the place, very fast, very acrobatic. So it is different, but. I think the solution to that is, in Spider-Man's case, you are in a lot of situations where you're overwhelmed by enemies. There's at least 20 to 25 guys, maybe 30, coming at you, especially when you do those bases, like the Fisk bases.
Yeah. Any other bases like that in the game as well?
So you're really having to move on your feet, really having to just try your fastest to take everything out. And I think what you were saying about the variation is interesting, because I've found myself in a lot of those. I've been going through the challenges and bases as I'm going through the story.
Right.
So I'm they're still.
I see what you're saying.
They're still challenging me. It's not like I'm endgame OP Spider-Man, just breezing through everything.
Right.
So I've ran out of the gadgets I use the most in fights.
Right.
So I have to switch it up.
Right.
So it's been forcing me to really use my full arsenal. So I don't know if
I feel that.
There's that part of it might be.
Yeah, I mean, all entirely, this could all just be a me thing, where like it's just kind of how I beat the game and like how I played it and everything. But
what difficulty are you on? Also, by the way,
I think I'm on normal. No, amazing.
Amazing is normal, yeah, because there's friendly is
okay.
easy, amazing is like normal, and then spectacular is the hard mode.
Yeah. Pretty sure I'm on just amazing. That's kind of how I usually all.
Yeah, I am too. Also, worth noting, New Game Plus is on the way at some point.
It's lit.
So.
I thought it was already in the day one patch. Or am I tripping?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Probably tripping. Yeah, so I guess maybe for my complaint about that is that like it's probably literally just a me thing. Because what should I say? I want to say I did a majority of different side stuff that you could do in between missions. I didn't do a lot of them, honestly.
Have you did you feel challenged? Because I've died in a few spots a couple times.
In the beginning, I felt a lot more challenged, right? Towards end game, I wasn't really challenged. I did felt annoyed by not annoyed in like a bad way, but just kind of like overwhelmed low key. But I can still pull it off, no problem. So like I will say that the game had this consistent feeling in combat of it being challenged and not like incredibly easy. Which if it was incredibly easy, that'd be a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I was.
So, like it's not like
I was surprised at how difficult some spots could be.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's not like this game is like incredibly easy on amazing mode at least. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's still definitely there were still some parts where I did to like definitely try it a few times and stuff like that. So that's what I'll just say too, because like I just felt like it was around maybe halfway through the game when I was like, man, like I'm kind of like sticking to the same moves that I'm sticking to, right? And so that's when I kind of thought about like, well, I guess like in God of War, the game made you use different things. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that like this game doesn't. Well, no, like this game really doesn't make you use different things necessarily. You will get a benefit, and it will be easier.
I honestly, I really think it's how you approach the way you chip away everything.
Yeah.
Because did you?
I guess think about it now.
I checked out your trophy list so far. It seems to me, tell me if I'm wrong, that mostly you just prioritize the story.
I did prioritize the story like mainly, and then I also like did like a little bit. Because
like not counting collectibles, did you do a lot of side stuff?
Like, I did the majority of side stuff.
Like the labs and the challenge things and the bases.
I definitely ramped up on the side stuff towards the end game, towards like the more second half of the game. But first half I was mainly just doing the story and stuff like that. And then like when I wasn't doing any recording for the walkthroughs, then I would definitely hop into some of those, whatever, but not a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I guess it was just mainly just my approach to the game and how it progressed, at least for me personally.
Yeah.
So I feel that, but overall, combat's good. Combat's cool.
So I also want to give a mention quick to some of the other side activities you can do, because gameplay-wise, you have a lot of variation. As you progress the story, there are more things that unlock, like there are the bases that we mentioned where different factions, you have to go in, beat up all the thugs in waves. Challenges are some of the traditional side things you'd expect from a Spider-Man game, like, oh, there's this bomb, here, get rid of it, do this. Random crimes also, pretty fun. I found myself stopping at a lot of those just because they take maybe like 2 minutes to finish.
Yeah, and they're just fun. They're just something to do,
Plus, everything you do in this game helps you progress, because you get tokens for everything, and whether that be putting it towards a suit, towards a gadget upgrade, anything, you earn tokens, and those tokens are valuable.
Yep.
So, I appreciate that a lot. Nothing in this game wastes your time.
Yeah, I will share that testament as well. Yeah, because even they're just, I don't know, like even when you compare it to like the side stuff and the main stuff, like there's some side stuff that feels like main stuff low key.
Oh yeah,
you know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Like it's just so it's just they just did a really good job with the side stuff as well.
Do you have a favorite side activity you've done? Because I have one, and you can think about one while I'm talking.
All right, I'm gonna say of the side stuff, I like definitely getting the challenge tokens. Those are kind of fun.
I had a one of the labs you can unlock.
Yes.
Specifically, there were two that really stood out to me. One was there was some biodegradable chemical that
for the trashes, right?
Right.
For the trashes.
And the way he was containing it, it was eating away at his webs. And I did this pretty early, so I was barely walking on the ground. Like, I barely saw the streets of New York. I was swinging everywhere, and I still kind of am, but it forced me to walk through the city pretty much, use the web zip on the lower levels, and I thought that was really refreshing, especially after like 3 hours of barely walking on the ground.
Right, because it gives you just a chance to, like, see the ground.
Yeah, it's like, hey, take a sec, like, walk.
This
look at what we did.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, we made an entire ground level of New York. Look at it.
Yeah, of those research labs as well, that are from a character that I don't think we're gonna say. But those research labs, there was one too where I was investigating a gas that was leaking from the street.
Oh, I did that one today.
And you take control of the spider drone. Is it that one that you're talking about?
Different one.
Or is that a different one? Yeah, I did that one. So, like, there's one where you have to figure out, why this gas is leaking and stuff like that, and you take control of a drone, of like a little, like, spider drone. You know what I'm saying? It's just like little things like that, where the side missions aren't just like fetch quests. They aren't anything mundane. Like, they're actually really, really fun and really tie in to the lore, to the world, and everything. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Definitely agree with that. Yeah.
There was also one other one I thought I wanted to shout out. It was about like a cell tower or some interference.
Yes.
And
I did that one too. Oh, that was really fun.
Yeah, it was cool because it reminded me of Spider-Man on the PS1, where like you couldn't go down into the city street levels because there was some gas or something there. And this reminded me of that a lot because it's like, hey, if you go down there, you're going to lose health. And it was like constantly changing its elevation, really making you try to stay within it. You could swing from the helicopters. It really reminded me of the old Spider-Man games where like you were very limited on your traversal. So I thought that was a cool callback.
Yeah, and even during that mission, like when he was getting hurt,
Oh,
that like doesn't matter really, but like he was like, like he was really hurt. But
I think I died in that mission.
I like that one a lot. That one was a really good one too.
Yeah, so a lot of the side activities are sort of what you'd expect from older ones of like random things in the city. The things that pop up in the city feel natural in there. You do get transitions for some of the side stuff. So it is like, okay, the city, but this is here now. City, but do that. So it's it's a nice separation between everything. But that pretty much wraps what I had to say on gameplay.
Yeah, and then also like just one thing more shout out. At least for me, like a lot of times when I was doing a lot of side stuff for the game, I was spending a lot of time in photo mode, which is something that I didn't expect me to spend a lot of time in because like historically, I've messed around with it a few times, like in God of War, especially mainly as like the main one, and a little bit of Horizon 2, but nothing really to the extent of how I'm spending it in Spider-Man.
Really?
Where I'm spending a lot of time in photo mode.
Yeah, I love photo mode so much. Especially with Spider-Man, where like the context is he's a photographer. It just adds to it. It's very nice.
Yeah, photo mode has been really, really, really fun to mess around with.
Yeah,
definitely enjoying.
I've been tweeting out some photo modes the past couple days. Suit spoilers, but on my Twitter I have some pictures of the game. Nice effects, lots of really good effects too.
It looks really good, man.
Yeah.
It looks so good. So shout out to photo mode, making me care about photo mode in the game, like in a more serious context.
So next up, I want to talk about a few things. We're gonna be going through a couple character relationships that are established within the first like hour of the game, as well as a pretty big problem I have with the game story.
Yes.
Not getting to specifics, just it's from a marketing standpoint. So.
And then me thinking about it, I think I know.
Okay.
Now.
So
we'll talk.
If you're sensitive about spoilers, even within the first hour, I would probably click out here. But yeah, so I want to talk about Mary Jane first. Which
shout out Mary Jane.
I really, really like her character in this.
Played by Laura Bailey, the one and only.
I really like her character. I'm glad they evolved her. especially Peter not being at the Bugle at this point in his life, having a character that is still the reporter and like the journalist.
She's at the Bugle too. Yeah.
Yeah, like so having her there since Peter isn't, I really enjoy. So we still get that flavor of it, you know.
That's nice. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And, same way. Again, the marketing has showed Miles is in this game, so you have the same way. This is Peter Parker who's 8 years into his career as Spider-Man. You get the teenage sort of like high school drama aspect from Miles, which again is filling in the Peter we're used to. So I do think that having Miles as a teenager and Mary Jane as a reporter gives us the beats that we'd expect from that point, like those aspects of Peter.
Right.
Through his surrounding cast, which I think was a really good move.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I liked both of them. Also, their performances on both of them were great. You know what I'm saying? And like admittedly, I don't know what it was. I wasn't really feeling MJ. I know I said that before. But I definitely ended up liking her at the end. So you know, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Yeah, I think. But having them be on rocky terms with their relationship is something we've seen done before, but not in my favorite way. I think in this way it's good because it's a bit after they split and they start talking again within the first hour of the game and they start working together for things. Yeah.
So I think he mentions that it's been
6 months.
3 or 6 months. 6 months, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because wait, what's it saying? Okay. No. Okay. So because in the book you like see them break up and at least in terms of just the game, they do kind of explain why they broke up in the first place, which is nice as well for those that haven't read the book and everything. Right. So that's good as well. And yeah, I don't know. MJ was dope. Yeah. Liked her a lot.
Also, her segments I really liked.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well. Just the way they were describing it beforehand, before release, kind of sounded like a little bit like.
I really enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, so I ended up enjoying them as well. Yeah, so overall, I ended up liking them. They were really cool, and they it's not. I thought it was just gonna be just like a simple like walk sim low key and just for lore purposes, but there is some gameplay in there. Yeah. There's like stealth, and there's definitely gameplay elements that are really cool as well.
Yeah, so, it's nice. It's a nice way to break up the game.
MJ's. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, kind of just let you breathe for a little bit, from all the stuff going on with Peter and everything. So
yeah, and I really have to say, my biggest compliment to this game is the way they wrote the characters and the way they have relationships with each other. That is my favorite part of this game. Because they really nailed the whole Peter Parker always on his feet, always late for everything, trying to make everything work, which I feel like gets lost sometimes, especially in like a 2-hour movie where it's like, okay, he's going to be late to something and then he has a scene with Aunt May. This, it's like, again, in the first hour or two of the game, context-wise, Peter doesn't sleep for like 2 days straight.
He literally says that too.
He's like, I haven't slept for like a couple days.
I'm like, dog, like, bro, find a couch, my guy. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, so I really like that aspect. They nailed that. All the Peter stuff too is really great between Aunt May, him going to the shelter.
Yeah. My favorite scene in the game. I don't know if you have one. I probably will just talk about that eventually, maybe in a future episode. But one of my favorite scenes isn't with Spider. Well, I mean, it is technically, but it's more of a. It's definitely. It's not. If I were to show you scene, no.
It showcases
if I were
a relationship.
To like describe, yeah. It's definitely a more like humanizing moment type of scene. Yeah, it's not really like the action sequence that you would expect to be your favorite part in a Spider-Man game. It's something that I totally wasn't expecting this part to be my favorite part.
Yeah, and like that whole vibe of the personal moments is one of my favorite things about Spider-Man as a character.
So good. So good. And Yuri pulls it off great, and they did a really good job.
So also, it's worth mentioning, like we said, Mary Jane's a reporter now. Aunt May seems to be on her feet, like not really struggling.
No.
So this is Insomniac's world. This is their take on Marvel. So we do have some things that get shaken up, and I think it's also worth mentioning. Again, very early on in the game, it's revealed that Peter, currently, we said he's not working for the Daily Bugle. He's not delivering pizzas. He's working with Otto Octavius in a lab position.
Yes. Yep.
And they're trying to change the world.
Yeah, so to give a little more context with that, so in Insomniac's universe, Otto Octavius is the mentor to Peter in college.
Right.
So he helps him a lot during college and everything, and they do a lot during Peter's college days. And then beyond the college days, he gets hired at Otto's lab.
Right.
To work with him as well, to continue the work that they did in college and stuff like that. So it definitely does show how close they are.
Yeah,
in the game as well.
There is a very
quickly
strong relationship between both of them, which I really enjoyed seeing unfold. Yeah, Otto is, again, very well written. Performance is great. I think they're using him very well because it's interesting to see him in like a more personal aspect, you know? Because we have seen Otto in different interpretations still being a idol of Peter, but this is much more personal instead of just idolizing him. Yeah. You know, he still looks up to Otto, but he's like
it's
working with him like as an equal.
At least to me, like it feels more of like the type of idolization you see with like a father's only son. You know what I'm saying? It kind of felt like that to me, where like it felt like, you know, he was proud of Peter, but like in the same way that you'd be proud of Peter if like he was your only son, for example, you know, as opposed to like this like crazy like, you know, God-esque type of, you know, person that we've seen him idolize him in other different ways.
Right,
you know
and I think it's also really interesting because you see a lot of Peter in Otto. Especially his optimism
100%.
For a lot of things, because Peter could very easily be depressed. Like, his life has not been great, you know?
Yeah.
So
his rant situation, all that stuff. Yeah, it's not.
So, I really enjoy that dynamic between the two of them. I think it's a really excellent relationship to see, because you do get a genuine sense of both of them caring for each other, for their health and for their professional work together. So I really enjoy that aspect of the game.
Yep. 100%.
So
I definitely
Yeah.
Do you have anything? And then also the like little lab puzzles as well that they talked about before release.
Oh yeah. Those are fun.
How you do some lab work. Yeah, those are fun. Not annoying as I thought they'd be. You know, just fun stuff if you want to do them. And that's a way you could also earn tokens that allow you to upgrade some of your gadgets and yourself as well.
Get new suits.
Get new suits. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about as well. So, the suits. Let's go into the suits, okay? So, I thought that I would be rotating through the suits as I unlock them. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you know, and just because also, like, they tied into the cutscenes as well. So, like, it wasn't like you were in your Insomniac suit during cutscenes or whatever, and then you would switch back to the suit that you had on during gameplay.
It's whatever you have on.
Yeah. It all fits in and stuff like that. And so, I thought I'd be rotating with all the other suits just for funsies, whatever, but I found myself not. And I want to know if you were the same way.
Yeah, I know you have a thing with like feeling that characters should be the way they look for the game.
Yeah, and I think that's where it all derives from for me.
Right.
Like, I thought I would drop that for this game and just have fun with the suits, but I found out, no, I just really don't. Yeah.
So I really, really love the classic suit. It looks great in this game. The colors are so, like, vibrant. I've always liked the Insomniac suit. Ever since they showed it off, I thought it was a really nice take on it.
Yeah, I love it a lot.
As I've been unlocking suits, I've just been throwing them on to try out their abilities and just like mess around in the city, do some side stuff.
Right.
There's one suit I really like that is one that is like in context with the game. You get it for doing something. It's not like, oh, you got all the backpacks, here's the
Are we not spoiling it? Or is that what we're doing here? Or did you just forget?
I mean, I'm fine saying it because it's the end of a side quest and you see it on the menu the second you open it.
Okay.
Is the Black Cat suit.
That one.
I love that one. That one's really nice.
I dig
There are a lot of black suits in this game. A lot of them are bad. I do not like a lot of those suits. But the Black Cat one is the best black suit in the game to me.
100%.
It looks so nice. I played with that for a little while, especially when there was a good chunk of the game that took place at night, like towards the beginning. So I used it a lot there. Yeah, I was switching through them a lot. Context-wise, for some of the stuff, I kept the main Insomniac suit on. There is a point in the story where, in my head, I felt like it was okay to change the Insomniac suit to a different suit that I really like. Just because of, like, in my head, it's like, okay, I feel like Peter would do this because this happened, so he would change.
Which one? I'm just curious. Oh, or is it like a spoiler?
It's hard to tell what this is. It's the Mark IV.
Okay, gotcha.
Like the one that's the shiny one with the glowing... Yeah, I love that suit. That's the one I put on.
That one's good, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm playing the rest of the game in that thing.
Yeah, other than... Okay, I did rock with the homemade suit a little bit on my side stuff. That's obviously cool to see as well. As well as the Stark suit, which is from Homecoming. Looks great. That's what my roommate mainly rocks. My roommate bounces between the Stark suit and the classic suit as well. But yeah, they both look really great. I think my favorite suit that I haven't gotten yet because I still need a little bit more challenge tokens is that comic book suit.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
Dude,
I like that one a lot.
That one looks super cool. I can't wait to get that one. But other than that, yeah, you know, suits are cool. There's a few that are just really out there and kind of weird.
Do you have a favorite suit ability? Because I do. That it's so nice, it's so strong, and I love it.
Honestly, I was messing around with them at first, but I really just stuck with my first ability, the battle focus. Oh. That's the main one I kind of rocked with. Yeah, like I didn't really mess with any of the other suit powers. I just found that battle focus was like, for me at least, the most useful out of all of them.
I think you should try out the Web Blossom.
The Web Blossom?
Yeah, because that's the one. It's hard to realize you have that one because that's attached to the classic suit when you repair it.
Right.
It's so nice. Because if you go into a room when there's like 15 dudes, you just trigger that, they all get stuck to the wall.
Gotcha.
It's been super easy to clear out rooms or like a wave of a challenge room. So I can recommend, especially if you're going through those the faction areas, equip that because 2 of the 5 rounds you'll probably be able to just breeze through in a second if you pull that off.
Okay.
That's my favorite one. I've had that on for most of the game.
Yeah, and I think this could be wrong. I could be mistaken, but isn't it when you unlock a suit, the ability is not tied to that suit anymore?
Right, you can put it on any suit.
You can use it. Yeah, okay, but on any suit, gotcha. Okay,
but
gotcha.
if you unlock a suit and then you pick that suit, it automatically gives you the new suit ability. Unless it will go away after the first time if you just want to keep it locked in on something, but if you get a new suit and you're using a suit that has an ability you like on it, it will have to be re-equipped, but it'll stay on there.
Right.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah, suits in the game pretty good. There's a few. I know all of them in the game. I don't have them all unlocked yet. There's one I was hoping to see in the game. It wasn't a huge deal breaker that it wasn't in there, but we get DLC down the line, so I'm sure they're going to be adding more.
Yeah, and like I'm sure definitely with the chapters of the DLC that we're gonna get, there's gotta be new suits in there, right? Like,
yeah, they already said that the first DLC is gonna have 3 suits.
Oh, okay, dope. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to get those that you've been wanting, that we didn't get first go around, definitely. But you've been kind of hinting at this little predicament you have with the game.
Yeah, so I got a big problem with this game.
I think I cracked it while you were talking, but I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Big problem.
I'm gonna let you take the floor. Yeah.
So,
worried, man. Oh man.
Yeah, this is like a legitimate big problem.
Oh no.
So.
Oh dear.
Obviously, this isn't final until I beat the game, but if I had to put a number on this right now, I'm thinking like 8.5.
Okay.
So
I mean, I will put that score. Yeah.
Let me just defend it real quick. I have one thing to say about it.
Okay.
The entire game, is nothing like really innovative. It's all things we've seen before in either different superhero games or different Spider-Man games, but it's just like polished beyond anything we've ever seen.
Yes.
So I really give him credit for that. I really give him the credit for nailing what you know and what you've played in other Spider-Man games, because it does feel familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super polished. The world is awesome to explore, and the characters and relationship. It's the best story we've ever had in a Spider-Man game or any superhero game. Debatable between Batman and this. So that's where I stand right now. It could change by the time I beat it, but yeah. So I think the game would have had. This is what I was talking about earlier with the whole. If you've been watching the E3 stuff, you know this isn't spoilers.
Okay.
So for the first 2 acts of the game, I want to say. The main antagonist is Martin Lee.
Yep.
Mr. Negative, the head of the demons.
Indeed. You are correct. Yep.
So I actually was surprised how much I liked Martin Lee as a character. Like going into Feast and seeing him working with everybody, seeing his relationship with May, his relationship with Peter even. I was like, oh, this guy's really great. He's a really good character. It's
wild how like a lot of people like definitely trust him. Like a lot of people seem to like him, like Martin Lee.
Yeah, I liked him too, and I knew the turn was. Knew he was a bad guy. I knew he would. Cause the back of my box of the PS4 has Martin Lee punching Spider-Man. So like I knew that was coming, and I still liked him.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is there's a point in the game where they reveal to Peter that Martin Lee is Mr. Negative. He's actually a bad dude.
Right.
It's right before the end of the first act. Now, you would imagine, oh, that's probably the first time they showed the game at E3 when he took down the helicopter and he was like, Martin Lee, the guy who runs Feast, he's the Mr. Negative. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
So they showed that. That was the debut of the game. And ever since then,
E3
it's like...
2016,
right.
Correct?
Ever since then, it was like, okay, Martin Lee, he's the bad guy.
Right.
I played through that segment. Martin Lee was not there. Right?
Oh, man.
He was not in that helicopter. So
wait a minute.
That entire segment from E3 was not in there. He was not the guy that was in the plane. It was some dude wearing the mask.
No, wait. Wow. I'm surprised that didn't.
So.
Yeah. Wait. No. Yeah.
He's not revealed until like probably 4 or 5 missions after that to Peter that Martin Lee is the bad guy. The way I felt about Martin Lee in the first part of this game.
That's not true.
What?
The mission right after the helicopter E3 one is where Peter realizes that Martin Lee.
Like in the actual game?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It's the big. Okay, I'm gonna say spoiler free.
It's the mayor thing, right?
City Hall thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
City Hall
in my
mayor,
head, I just thought that was further out, but
yeah,
still,
no, that's after.
It's
but
after.
Like, yeah.
Like that showcase of the game, it was like this is our villain. So I was so attached to Martin Lee as a character in the first part of this game that when the reveal happened, I felt like, oh, I know this, you know.
Gotcha.
And I felt really cheated. I felt very cheated because if he wasn't going to be in that mission of the game, why did they put him in the E3 demo and be like, oh, this is our villain? Because you spend about like 6 to 7 hours, or maybe a little less than that, of the game, Peter liking Martin Lee. So if they didn't show him as the villain in that thing, you just see Martin Lee as a character. And then that turn, especially what he does at that turn, would have hit so much harder.
Right.
Because the thing is, every single like big, really huge moment of this game we saw before. Like the biggest moments of this game were shown off, which is my biggest issue with it.
I'm gonna say definitely beat it, and I think that's gonna change.
Yeah, well, the other thing is like, it's been very predictable.
No, I mean.
Like I could probably tell you what the end of this game is going to be. I could probably tell you what the end of the game is going to be.
You could 100% tell me what the end of the game is going to be. No, 100%. No, like this story, at least what I felt. Okay, just for context, I've beat the game, boys. Right? I think it's already said, right? So the story is very much predictable, right?
Yeah.
But there are little and I don't know if this is, I guess you could construe this as like a bad thing, I'd say. So like the main storyline is predictable. Within probably like the first maybe hour or two, you can probably tell what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Likely. Like you probably, okay, this is gonna happen, that, and then it's gonna end like this, whatever. But there are little things that do happen.
Right. The small moments and the character moments are my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah.
My only thing is the big moments that are supposed to feel really big. It's like, oh yeah, you know, like it's a game full of small moments that are very charming and very heartwarming, and then the big moments that are supposed to really hit hard don't. Because even the year after, this past year at E3, they showed off the raft breakout. That is very late in the game.
It is. No,
I did that earlier today, right? I did that probably like 2 hours ago. I'm probably going to beat the game by the end of the night.
Where, from what you told me, if you start after this cast, you will beat it within like 2-3 hours. Yeah. You're like almost there. Yeah. You're almost there. But
I don't know why they showed that late in the game when, like, it honestly, it cheapens a lot of it, and it really makes the rest of the game predictable. And this isn't specifically a problem with the game as much as it is with the marketing.
How it was shown, yeah.
But you have to take that into account, especially while I'm sitting here being like, oh, this hasn't happened yet, so if this hasn't happened yet, they're talking about this right now, this next thing's going to happen, a little while later that's going to happen, and then the end of the game, I can draw it out for you.
To me, it did feel weird how late the raft thing happened. The raft breakout. Yeah. It felt weird to me how late that was. Like, I'm like, why is this happening like so late in this game? You know what I'm saying? And I guess when you're playing it for your first playthrough, you are waiting for it. You know?
Yeah.
You are like waiting for, okay, like when do you see the raft? Like, you know, when is that part? Because I want to see. Oh, who is that mystery guy? And even with the mystery guy, that's end of the E3 2018 gameplay trailer or whatever of the rats.
Like, you know.
Within the first hour or two,
you know.
You're going to put it together. You're going to be like, yeah, okay. It's him. Like, it's not like going to be anything crazy.
Yeah.
And
it's really upsetting.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see where you come from in that standpoint. Definitely 100%. You know, like I feel like you are definitely warranted.
Like, I don't think the story's bad, but I think that think the complete opposite of that. I think the story's fantastic, but they have to take into account what they've shown. You know.
And also, I was talking to my roommate about it, right? Because I was like looking at all of the trailers. Listen, they put out a lot before release. Listen, guys, a lot. A lot. When you take into account all of the E3 showings, all of the pre-order suits that they unveiled, which trailer arguably okay, but like there was some stuff in those trailers. I know those trailers were focused on the suits, but there was some stuff in there, right? Just, you know, little stuff, but it was there, right?
Right.
And then to have the Just the Facts, J. Jonah Jameson stuff leading up to the last 2 weeks of release, having all that in there, right? Like they definitely played it loose with what they were gonna withhold and what they were gonna release before, right?
Right.
And I think, and so as a roommate, I was like, man, like, do you think they're showing a little bit too much of this game? Like, really though, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he didn't have an issue with it. He was like, nah, like I don't think it's that big of a, you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal, whatever. But I want to ask him that after he beats the game.
Okay.
Because I definitely felt that way as well. I'm like, man, like,
yeah,
they definitely show a lot.
Yeah, dude, because like
they definitely show
because
a lot.
Because of everything they showed and what I knew what was coming for those parts throughout the entire game. I saw them planting other seeds too that led to other things that. You don't say a word, okay?
I won't. I swear I won't.
I have a feeling there's going to be some extra twist. I think I know what it is because of the way they've been setting everything up with the things I already know is coming.
Right.
So it's upsetting. I know it. I love this game. It's a very, very good video game, and I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. So it's not like It's just a weird situation because you know the characters and you can expect the way some things are going to go, but don't like don't act like we don't know what's coming with some aspects, you know, especially when you show it off for your debut of the game. That's just like, again, it's a me thing, I think, but I have seen other people complaining about the way the game was shown off.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, it was mainly when they started showing off the just the facts trailers. When they started putting those out, and there was maybe I think like 3 or 4 of them, maybe like 4 or 5, something like that. But I was like, okay, I think we're seeing a little bit too much this game.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're good, right? I think we're good. And then also, side note, something that we totally didn't even brush on, the Jonah Jameson stuff is super dope.
Yeah,
just him having a podcast.
Yeah, so I'm done talking about my negatives with the game because I don't want to end on a bad note, but. I really love all the detail in here. Again, the characters are my favorite part of the game. The Jameson podcast is really funny.
Really funny. Really funny.
Yeah,
really
and
good stuff. Yeah.
I really appreciate the care they have for this world because it shows through every single crack of this game. And I'm having a great time with it. It is easily the best Spider-Man game that's ever existed, ever.
Yeah.
I like it more than the Batman Arkham games in my head right now.
Right.
I have to replay the second one because I haven't played it in a while, but I think it is my favorite superhero game ever.
It is certainly mine. It's certainly mine. I definitely enjoyed this game. Obviously, definitely loved it. I think my biggest takeaway, my like main underlying theme is what I'm attached to this game is that yes, although the main story is very predictable, right? It is very, very much cookie cutter. You definitely know where you're at and where you're gonna go and where you're gonna end up.
Right.
It's very, very easy, right? But the true gem is what you keep saying as well with the human interactions between the characters and the relationships, and there's a lot of groundbreaking things that happen in the last half hour of this game.
Yeah, I really
that are like, oh my god. You know what I'm saying?
I really think that this is probably the best adaptation of Peter Parker and Spider-Man from anything. I think it beats all the movies for me. As far as a characterization of Peter Parker being brought to life, and the toll of being Spider-Man that it takes on him in his personal life and his physical being, I think they nailed it. And obviously, you're going to get a better chance of doing that in a 15, 20 hour, 25 hour game than a 2-hour movie.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
I can't say enough good things about this game. I was just a little shortchanged with some of the things I was going and expecting, but
yeah, no, for sure. And I'm really most interested to see how you feel about this game when you beat it. I don't know if that's gonna be next week where we talk spoilers or something like that.
It probably will be.
But I definitely want to talk to you about some spoilers stuff.
Yeah.
There is some interesting stuff going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah. So
I have one final question for you.
What do you got?
I want like a 1-sentence answer.
Gotcha.
Since you beat the game, has this passed any of your contenders for Game of the Year? Because what's your top 2 right now?
God of War and Celeste.
In that order?
Yes.
Okay.
I know in the 6-month cap it was Celeste, but I really looked at myself in the mirror that night and really assessed my and I'm like, no, it's God of War. So right now, God of War is my number 1.
Okay.
And so I guess you're asking if it's shaken that list at all?
Yeah, like is it at the bottom of those two? Like is it the third, or is it like number 2 now? Did it bump Celeste? Did it topple God of War? Because right now for me, God of War is still my favorite game of the year.
I can say the same thing. Yes.
Okay.
And in terms of where it falls in with Celeste, like how it interplays with that, I Oh man, it's tough. It's Celeste is always the wild card in these things. Celeste is a very, very hard game to kind of pit up against these AAA games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But and not to take away from being an indie. You know, not trying to disrespect it, but like
no, yeah, I get it because Hollow Knight's up there for me too. So it's
exactly. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But if we're gonna take Celeste out of the equation, from the midpoint, I came to the conclusion that okay, I think this is not gonna beat God of War.
Yeah.
You know? And that's not taking away from it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we lived in a year right now where God of War didn't come out, right, this would be number one.
Yeah, I agree.
Hands down number one.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just with God of War in the mix, it's going to be really hard to mess up this list. I think for you, maybe Red Dead might do it. Maybe. I don't know. You know,
yeah, right now, I was expecting Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man's probably my number 2 right now. I'll see how the ending changes everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Right now, the best chance of beating God of War is Red Dead.
Yeah, so. Yeah, because... So you're like 2 hours away from beating the game.
Right.
If that. You know what I'm saying? You're like pretty close, right?
Yes.
So I think it's a fair judgment to say, like, to ask you this question, but like from this current standpoint, do you think it's likely that this game will beat God of War?
I think
for you,
I think there's a chance because up until the last hour or so of God of War, it was my third favorite of the year.
Gotcha.
So an ending of a game can really like push me over to loving it. Like
no, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say because this.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going. I have a feeling it's going places. Yeah.
What you're about to play, it is really good.
Yeah.
It is some really good stuff. It is some really good, really, really cool stuff that you're about to play.
Yeah, so
you know what I'm saying?
Next week could change my mind. It could be my number 1.
Yeah,
but right now I feel like it's going to be a comfortable number 2 for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but and even with that being said, even with me saying you're about to play some really, really, really cool stuff, I don't know what it was, but just God of War was just a whole different thing for me. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get that, yeah.
And I don't know what it was, guys. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that literally could change by the end of this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm going to probably go back and play God of War again. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see that on the Pro. I was just waiting to beat Spider-Man before I go back.
Oh, my God.
I'm going up to that, I'm going up to the Stranger fight, and then I'm going to stop. But, yeah.
You definitely need to play it on the Pro, because God of War Pro looks amazing.
So,
but,
next week...
so right now, Spider-Man did not beat God of War for me.
Right.
After beating it, yeah.
So next week, expect... Spider-Man spoiler cast. If you want to see if my opinion changed on Spider-Man, we'll do that in the first 5 minutes of the episode. But yeah, so spoilers, full spoilers next week. Like, full spoilers.
Full on.
If you want to watch it, beat the game by then.
Yep. 100%.
But if they want to find out what you have to say about Blackout, because we didn't get a chance to talk about that much, where can they find you on Twitter?
Follow me at the KDIZ123, THEKDIAZ123. Follow me on there. All my hot takes and shenanigans and all that good stuff. And definitely catch me on the channel as well. And if you for some reason aren't getting this game, maybe you're skipping out on it, maybe you're waiting, whatever, or maybe you're on Xbox, unfortunately. I don't know why you'd be listening to this, but whatever.
In all defense, the puddle problem is not on Xbox.
You know what? you just did something. I'll tell you. You really did something there, man.
All right.
You can't have a puddle game without a game. But if you want, there's a full walkthrough on the channel. You can go check that out as well. Done by yours truly yourself. It's 11 episodes. Very, very nice time. So you can go check out my reactions, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so if you do want to watch the spoiler cast and have context for what happened, you can watch those. But if you want to follow me and see more witty jokes like that one, or the nice filmic Spider-Man pictures I'm taking in the game, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris N. Buckley, listed on screen right now. But that's going to do it for the Spider-Man initial thoughts episode of Cross Circle.
There we go.
So, I'm excited to beat it. I'm excited to see what the end has in store. I know there's post-credit scenes. I was told there are post-credit scenes, so I'm going to make sure But
yes, there are. They're so good. They're so good.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you tune in next week for our spoiler discussion. As always, greatness awaits.
Yeah. Later.